You won't believe what this mom pulled on her own daughter right before her wedding. So this story comes from Reddit's AmItheAsshole, a subreddit where people bring their messiest situations to the internet and ask strangers to weigh in. And this one had me genuinely fuming by the end. Let's get into it. So our narrator starts by setting the scene. Her brother and her have been planning a big family vacation, the first one since 2019 where all the cousins could come together. We're talking a full house, beach vibes, the whole thing. Everyone involved is an adult, by the way. The youngest cousin is 24 years old. This isn't a situation with kids running around. These are grown people. They were looking at large Airbnbs, splitting costs, the whole group chat energy of trying to coordinate a family trip. You know how that goes. And then, on the very first planning call, Mom drops something in. She says she prefers that our narrator, a 28-year-old woman, and her fiancé, a 27-year-old woman, not share a room. Now, here's some important context. These two have lived together for over 2 years. They own a house together. They are getting married in 6 months. And here's the kicker. The family went on a cruise together just last year, and nobody said a single word about the two of them sharing a room then. Not one peep. So our narrator does exactly what a reasonable adult would do. She shuts it down immediately. She says, that's not going to happen. And the mom doesn't push back. The conversation moves on. For weeks, the group is going back and forth sharing Airbnb options, talking logistics, and nobody brings up the room situation again. So naturally, our narrator assumes it's settled, right? She set a clear boundary, Mom backed off, life goes on. Oh, but here's where it gets good. Out of nowhere, the brother calls and casually mentions that Mom already booked a house. Like, went ahead and did it without the group. Just booked it. So our narrator calls her mom to find out what's going on. And the mom tells her straight up that her fiancé and her can either sleep in separate beds, or they can find somewhere else to stay. Let that sink in. Two women who own a home together, who are getting married in 3 months by the time this trip happens, are being told by Mom that they cannot share a bed on a family vacation. And when our narrator pushes back and asks why she wasn't told about this sooner, why the house was booked without any warning, the mom's response is absolutely wild. She says her original preference was her way of communicating the rule. A preference was the rule. I'm sorry, but no. When someone says, I prefer you don't do this, and you say, that's not happening, and nobody argues, that is not an agreement. That is not a settled rule. That is a preference that was rejected. But it gets even more layered. Our narrator points out that they were paying their share of the house, about $1,200. So she argues, correctly, that her mom doesn't get to control their sleeping arrangements when they're literally paying rent. And you know what the mom says to that? She says they can still pay the $1,200. But they're not sharing a bed. So she wants the money. She just doesn't want to give them a bed. Now, the only realistic option our narrator has is a nearby hotel, which runs around $1,500, more expensive than the share of the house, and it doesn't come with a kitchen, so they'd be driving back and forth to the beach house every single day. It's a totally different vacation. More expensive, less connected, and honestly, just a reminder every single day that they've been pushed out. And here's the part that really got me. The reason our narrator is even considering going at all isn't for herself. It's for her special needs brother, who is genuinely excited about this trip and would be heartbroken if she didn't come. Let that sit for a second. She's willing to swallow all of this. The disrespect, the extra cost, the principle of it all, not for her mom, but for her brother. Her fiancé, who sounds like an incredibly patient and kind person, is even willing to sleep separately just for his sake. But our narrator is struggling with it. And honestly, she should be. Because here's the thing she drops at the very end, almost like it's an afterthought, but it's actually the most important detail in the entire story. Her parents don't support their relationship, and they might not even come to the wedding. So this isn't just a vacation disagreement. This is a pattern. This is a family that has never fully accepted who their daughter is or who she loves. And the mom booking that house, without telling anyone, without having a real conversation, just making a unilateral decision and hiding behind the word preference. That wasn't an accident. That was control. That was a power move dressed up as a house booking. And our narrator is standing there, being asked to pay $1,200 to sleep separately from her own fiancé in a house where she isn't even fully welcome, just to keep the peace. For a family that might not show up to her wedding. The comments on this post were overwhelmingly on her side, by the way. Most people said she is absolutely not the a-hole. Many pointed out that accepting this sets a terrible precedent, that if she gives in now, what happens next year? What happens at Christmas? What message does it send to her fiancé, the person she's about to marry, that she'll tolerate being treated this way? And a lot of people said the same thing I keep coming back to. This isn't really about a bed. It's about whether this family is ever going to respect her relationship. And booking a house in secret, enforcing a fake rule, and then demanding money for the privilege of being separated from your partner. That's a pretty clear answer. What would you have done in this situation? Would you book the hotel and go anyway for the sake of your brother? Would you skip the trip entirely and hold the line? Or would you find some other way to handle a mom who's clearly not ready to accept reality? Drop a comment and let me know. I genuinely want to hear what you think. And if you enjoyed this video, smash that subscribe button because we're dropping Reddit stories every single day, and trust me, they only get wilder from here.